Claire Hall laughed as she watched the colony report arrive on the screen. She could not believe anyone called humans warriors. The messages spoke of Deathworlders, elite fighters who could survive anywhere, who could destroy entire squads alone. Claire thought it was all stories for children. She leaned back in her chair and shook her head. Eric Miller, her colleague, and a soldier assigned to protect the colony, frowned. "You do not believe them, Claire?" he asked. His voice carried caution. "I have seen some of their missions. They are not stories." Claire smiled and waved him off. "I see soldiers in uniform, not legends. Humans are strong, yes, but legends? It is funny." She turned to the screen again. The report showed a distant planet with jagged rocks and storms that burned the skin. The colony there was small, struggling against hostile forces trying to take their land. Queen Victoria Lane appeared on the screen next. Her presence was commanding. She was a human queen, strong and fearless, and she spoke to her soldiers with a calm authority that made them follow without question. Claire watched her give orders and coordinate attacks. The Queen's soldiers moved with sharp precision, not wasting a single step. Eric leaned closer. They call them Deathworlders, elite fighters who survive anything. The Queen leads them. She does not fight alone, but her soldiers follow her to the worst places. They are the reason humans have power on these worlds. Claire laughed again, shaking her head. "I have seen plenty of soldiers, Eric. They are brave, yes, but these Deathworlders, I doubt they are any different." The colony on the distant planet sent a signal for help. They were under attack, surrounded by enemy forces, and they needed aid immediately. The report showed fires burning, buildings collapsing, and people running to save their lives. Claire watched without fear. She thought humans would send a fleet, maybe a few soldiers, and the colony would survive by numbers, not legends. Then she saw the ships arriving. They moved faster than any transport she had ever seen. The human fleet descended on the colony like a storm. Soldiers dropped into the battlefield with perfect timing. Claire blinked. "Well," she muttered, "maybe they are faster than I thought." Eric smiled but did not speak. He knew Claire would not accept the truth until she saw it herself. The soldiers who landed were different. They moved with a deadly grace, carrying heavy weapons, but running and climbing as if they weighed nothing. The enemy tried to fight back, but the humans dodged, struck, and vanished in seconds. Claire leaned forward. She could not hide her surprise. "They move like they are not afraid of anything," she said quietly. She saw one soldier, a woman named Lisa Grant, climb a cliff and take out 3 enemy squads without hesitation. Claire's eyes widened. "That cannot be real," she whispered. Queen Victoria Lane appeared again, this time on a small monitor at the colony. She gave orders pointing to soldiers on different points of the battlefield. Each command was precise, each action calculated. The enemy tried to advance, but every move was met with human precision and deadly skill. Claire could not look away. She laughed once more, but this time it was not mocking. It was disbelief mixed with awe. The legends she had dismissed were real. Humans could survive anywhere, fight anywhere, and destroy anyone who threatened them. She felt a strange pull in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, she would see what it truly meant to be a human Deathworlder. The first wave of the enemy was defeated before they even realized the humans were there. Claire leaned back, still staring at the screen, trying to understand what she had witnessed. The Queen and her soldiers had arrived. The legends were alive, and Claire was about to see how deadly they could be. The enemy regrouped after their first failure. They wanted to take the colony at any cost. Claire Hall watched from a distance as the new wave approached. She could see the fear in the colonists' eyes, but also the calm readiness of the human soldiers. Eric Miller stood beside her. "This is where you see the real Deathworlders," he said. "They fight like they were born for this." Claire nodded, but stayed quiet. She was still trying to process what she had seen before. The enemy forces moved in heavy formation. They had armored vehicles, weapons that could tear through buildings, and soldiers trained for war. They thought the humans would panic. They were wrong. Queen Victoria Lane stood on a raised platform, overlooking the battlefield. She gave orders to her soldiers, pointing to the exact spots where enemy forces were the strongest. Each command was met with immediate action. The soldiers moved fast, taking cover, firing with precision and striking hard. Lisa Grant, one of the elite Deathworlders, led a small squad on the flank. She ran through broken terrain, dodging gunfire, and took down enemy soldiers with clean, swift moves. Claire could not believe her eyes. Lisa jumped over a barricade, landed perfectly, and took out 3 enemies before they could react. Claire whispered, "This is impossible." Ryan Cole, a young scout, moved beside Lisa, covering her back. He used the environment to his advantage, climbing rocks and using natural cover to surprise the enemy. Together, Lisa and Ryan became a storm of deadly force. Claire felt her heart race. She had laughed at these stories, but now she could see the skill and power of human Deathworlders. She saw Eric in the middle of the battlefield, moving without fear, taking down soldiers twice his size. He fought with strength and speed that made Claire realize humans were not ordinary fighters. The enemy tried to regroup, sending more troops to surround the colony. They thought they could break the humans with numbers. The Queen watched calmly. She raised her hand, signaling for a new attack plan. Human soldiers shifted positions instantly, creating traps and ambushes. Claire noticed how every movement was coordinated. There was no waste, no hesitation. Soldiers moved as if they could read each other's minds. She saw a human warrior roll under fire, jump to a ledge, and take down enemies from above. The precision was deadly.
Ow.
The colony building shook as the enemy tried to break through. Fires started in some areas, but the humans never faltered. They carried wounded soldiers back, gave covering fire, and pressed forward. Claire saw Jake Turner, a sharpshooter, take aim from a high position and pick off enemies with deadly accuracy. The battle continued for hours. Claire stayed near the command post, watching the humans fight with relentless strength. She realized the legends she had dismissed were true. These humans could survive in the worst conditions, fight against impossible odds, and never give up. Lisa returned to the Queen after their flank attack. She was not tired, not scared. She reported the enemy positions. The Queen nodded and gave new commands. Claire felt awe and fear at the same time. She had never seen humans fight like this. As the sun set, the first major wave of the enemy was crushed. The battlefield was filled with smoke, broken vehicles, and scattered enemies. The human soldiers stood tall, not a single one defeated in spirit. Claire finally understood the truth. Human Deathworlders were not just soldiers. They were legends made real, and she had seen them in battle. Claire clenched her fists. She felt a strange desire to join them, to fight alongside these unstoppable warriors. She knew this was only the beginning. The enemy would return, and humans would be ready. She would not look at stories the same way again. The next morning, Claire Hall followed the human soldiers toward the toxic swamps near the colony. The enemy had retreated, but left traps and ambushes. Claire felt the danger in the air. She had watched humans fight before, but now she was close to the action. Eric Miller led the group. "Stay close," he warned. "These swamps are deadly and the enemy knows every corner." Claire nodded, her eyes scanning the dark waters and twisted trees. The air smelled of chemicals, and the ground was unstable. Every step could be a trap. Lisa Grant moved ahead, agile and silent. She spotted a hidden enemy squad and signaled Ryan Cole. They took positions in the shadows. Before the enemy knew it, Lisa and Ryan struck, eliminating the squad with deadly precision. Claire could not hide her shock. "How do they do that?" she whispered to Eric. The Queen, Victoria Lane, stayed at a high point, giving commands and watching every move. Her eyes were calm but sharp. Every order she gave made a difference on the battlefield. Claire realized the Queen was not just a leader. She was the mind behind the humans' power. As they moved deeper into the swamp, the enemy launched a sudden attack. Dozens of soldiers appeared from the mist, aiming to trap the humans. Lisa and Ryan responded instantly, firing and moving with speed Claire could barely follow. She watched as the humans rolled under gunfire, climbed trees, and struck from unexpected directions. Jake Turner joined them, taking a position on a ridge. His aim was perfect. Every shot counted. He covered Lisa and Ryan as they advanced. Claire felt her heart race. She had never been this close to such precision and power. Humans were not just strong, they were unstoppable. The enemy tried to surround the squad, using traps and heavy weapons. Claire froze when she saw one trap trigger near Lisa. Lisa jumped out of the explosion and landed perfectly, taking out 2 enemy soldiers before they could react. Claire realized humans had no fear. Every move was calculated, every risk controlled. Eric guided Claire to a safer position, but she wanted to see more. She saw how the Deathworlders used the swamp to their advantage, turning dangerous terrain into a weapon. Trees became cover, mud slowed the enemy, and water streams masked their movements. Claire wanted to help. She picked up a rifle from a fallen soldier and tried to aim. Her first shot missed, but Eric corrected her quickly. "Focus, Claire. Move with them, not against them." She followed his advice and managed to take out an enemy soldier. She felt a rush of power. Humans could fight anywhere, survive anywhere, and win anywhere. The Queen ordered a final strike on the enemy's forward position. Lisa, Ryan, Jake, and Eric led the charge. Claire stayed close, keeping up despite her inexperience. They moved fast, hitting the enemy from all sides. Within minutes, the swamp was cleared. Claire stood among the soldiers, breathing heavily, watching the enemy retreat. She had seen humans fight in impossible conditions, and she had survived with them. She felt awe and respect. The legends were real, and now she was part of it. The Queen looked at the squad. Her voice was steady and commanding. "We hold this ground. We protect our people. We fight until we win." Claire repeated it in her mind. She understood now. Humans were Deathworlders because they refused to die. As the sun set over the swamp, Claire felt a change inside her. She had laughed at stories before, but now she wanted to become one of the humans who could survive anywhere, strike anyone, and never give up. The battle had shown her the truth. Humans were more than warriors. They were legends in action. The Queen, Victoria Lane, gathered her strike team at the edge of the jagged mountains. Claire Hall, Eric Miller, Lisa Grant, Ryan Cole, and Jake Turner stood ready. The enemy fortress loomed above, filled with soldiers and weapons.
House.
This was the final test for humans. "We move fast and strike hard," the Queen said. Her voice was calm, but full of power.
Oh.
"No one survives if we act together." Every soldier nodded, understanding the gravity of the mission. Claire felt fear, but also determination. She wanted to fight beside them. They advanced quietly at first, climbing rocks and using the terrain for cover. The fortress was heavily guarded, but human soldiers were trained for impossible situations. Lisa and Ryan scouted ahead, marking enemy positions and traps. Claire followed, trying to keep up with their speed. Suddenly, enemy fire erupted. Bullets and lasers struck the rocks around them. Lisa rolled under the attack, returned fire, and took out a squad with perfect aim. Ryan flanked the enemies, cutting them off from retreat. Claire raised her rifle and aimed, taking her first real shot under fire. She hit her target, and a rush of power surged through her. Eric led the middle group, breaking through gates and walls. His strength and skill were unmatched. He carried a wounded soldier while still fighting off attackers. Claire realized humans could fight and survive in ways she had never imagined. The Queen moved with her team, directing attacks with sharp precision. Every order she gave changed the battlefield. Enemy soldiers fell one after another, confused by the speed and power of the human warriors. Claire watched in awe as humans moved like machines of war, yet every strike was precise and deadly. Jake found a sniper position high above the fortress. His aim was perfect, covered the team as they pushed deeper into enemy lines. Claire stayed close to Lisa, learning from her moves. She rolled under fire, climbed walls, and struck with accuracy. She felt herself changing. She was becoming a fighter. The enemy tried to regroup in the central courtyard, hoping to use numbers to overwhelm the humans. The Queen anticipated their move. She signaled Lisa and Ryan, who hit the flanks. Eric and Jake moved straight into the courtyard, taking out leaders with deadly efficiency. Claire joined the charge, firing and moving as she had never done before. The battle reached the heart of the fortress. The enemy commander appeared, large and heavily armed. He thought he could scare the humans. It was wrong. The Queen advanced first, leading her team. Lisa and Ryan struck from the sides. Eric tackled the commander to the ground while Jake shot precise shots to prevent reinforcements. Claire aimed at enemy soldiers trying to escape, taking them down one by one. Within minutes, the fortress fell. Enemy soldiers surrendered or fled. The human strike team stood victorious. Claire felt exhaustion, but also pride. She had survived a battle she never thought possible, and had fought beside the legendary Deathworlders. The Queen looked over her team. "This is what humans do," she said. "We survive anywhere. We fight anyone. We protect our people. We never give up." Claire repeated it in her mind, feeling it in her bones. She had seen humans become legends in action. As the sun set over the jagged mountains, Claire felt a new strength inside her. She was no longer just an observer. She had fought and survived. She had learned what it meant to be a human Deathworlder. The enemy fortress was destroyed, but Claire knew the fight was not over. Humans were ready for anything, and she would be ready too. The battlefield stretched across the valley, filled with smoke, fire, and scattered debris. Claire Hall stood with Queen Victoria Lane, Eric Miller, Lisa Grant, Ryan Cole, and Jake Turner. The enemy had gathered all their forces for a final attack. This would decide the fate of the colony. The Queen looked at her team. "We fight together. We hold this ground. No one passes," she said. Her voice was calm, but it carried a weight that made every soldier ready to act. Claire felt her hands tighten around her rifle. She had trained, fought, and survived.
Ow.
She was ready. The enemy came in waves, larger than anything they had faced before. Tanks rolled forward and soldiers poured from every direction. The humans did not hesitate. Lisa and Ryan moved to the flanks, striking enemy squads before they could organize. Jake fired from high positions, picking off threats with deadly precision. Eric led the center, charging into the strongest forces. He took down soldiers twice his size and saved others who were trapped. Claire ran beside him, firing at enemies and dodging explosions. She moved faster than she thought possible, her body reacting with instincts she had learned from the Deathworlders. The Queen stayed at a high point, observing the battlefield. She gave orders with confidence. "Hold left flank, push right, cover the retreat." Her commands were obeyed instantly. Every soldier became part of a single, unstoppable force. Claire felt proud to fight among them. The enemy tried to break through the human line with heavy weapons. A tank fired at the humans, destroying cover and creating chaos. Lisa leaped onto the tank, climbed its side, and disabled it from the inside. Ryan and Jake covered her. Humans could fight anywhere, survive anything, and strike anyone. The battle raged for hours. Humans moved as one, striking, dodging, and surviving impossible attacks. Claire felt exhaustion, but also determination. She realized humans were more than fighters. They were legends made real. An enemy commander appeared, larger and armed with advanced weapons. He thought he could scare the humans. The Queen smiled faintly. "Finish this," she said. She led the team forward, moving faster than anyone thought possible. Lisa and Ryan struck from the sides. Eric tackled the commander while Claire fired at his soldiers. Jake covered them from above. Within minutes, the commander fell. The enemy forces scattered in panic. The battlefield fell silent, except for smoke and fire. Humans stood tall, victorious. Claire looked around, seeing her team exhausted but unbroken. She felt a surge of pride and strength. She had fought beside legendary humans, survived the impossible, and learned the truth. Humans were Deathworlders, legends who could survive anywhere and strike anyone. Queen Victoria Lane walked among her soldiers, checking on each one. "We protect our people. We survive. We win," she said. Claire nodded, knowing she would never doubt human strength again. She had seen the legends in action. As the sun set over the valley, Claire felt herself change. She was no longer just an observer. She had fought, survived, and earned her place among humans who were unstoppable. She looked at the battlefield and knew one thing clearly. Humans were not just warriors, they were legends. Claire took a deep breath and lifted her rifle. She was ready for whatever came next. The colony was safe, the enemy defeated, and the humans had shown their true power. She had laughed at stories once. Now she was living the legend.